just switch it to that. This way I know it's definitely the proper mic. I also have a fan blowing in here. I don't know if you're hearing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move the fan. So give me 1 second. I don't want to ruin the audio. All right. Turn it in that direction so I can still feel it. All right. All right. I am sorry about that. I just wanted to make sure everything was up and running. Making sure I got everything near me here. If there is an issue with the audio, please let me know. I am, let me move. I'm trying to figure out what did I want to do. Oh, I wanted to make sure the chat was available so I can see it. So first of all, everyone who's watching, thank you. It is a very, even though it's in the 60s, it's a very warm day here for me, or at least in here it's raining. It's a little muggy. So I'll probably be even drinking my water a little more than I should, opening a window, get some more air in here. So first off, again, thank you for tuning in. I'm Michael Grassia, and I wanted to talk about a few things. I wasn't actually going to live stream today. I know I've been promising a live stream for a while, and I want to try to start bringing back my Monday night live draws. The thing is, though, I was sitting on my couch today looking, doodling, sketching. I should have been working on my comic, which I'm behind on. So that's one update. But honestly, it was a long day for me yesterday, and I'm a little achy. So I was kind of taking it easy today. But as I'm sitting there and I'm flipping through some comics that I have with me, it made me want to come on and talk about a few things. And I know I've been promising an update on some stuff, so I will get to those. I just told you I'm behind on all my comics right now. And I'm hoping that'll change very soon because, right now I've had family events the last 2 weekends. Next weekend is Mother's Day. So more and more family events, I just need more days on the weekend to myself, and then hopefully I'll start getting those again. I'm also doing a convention in White Plains on the 21st and 22nd. It's Undiscovered Realm Con. I was there last year. I was there with the kids section. I'm going to be there again with the kids section, and I'll be doing what I call my cartoonatures, which is where I draw people looking like cartoon characters. So they're not caricatures where it's the big head and the exaggerated features. It's more like, oh, well, I want to be in a Flintstones cartoon. How would I look as a Flintstones character? Or I want to be on, in whatever part of the Archies or whatever. And, so I'll draw you more in those styles. And I do it pretty quick. And I will do an hour, I think both days. I don't know the schedule yet, but I will do an hour free for kids in the kids section. So that's going on. But the reason why I'm saying all this is because I'm putting in an order at the moment for some books to sell. Some of the books I worked on, like Zorro, a pulp adventure story that I illustrated. And I'll have, I actually ordered from a friend of mine who's, I forget where he is. I feel terrible. But he put out a book that's in Portuguese, and I'll have a Portuguese book there because I did an illustration in there. So that's kind of cool. But after the show, since I don't really do shows, I will be selling them, you know, online, and if anyone wants them, we could discuss that. Uh, Also, Get in Tune update this week. If you're not familiar, is Don Simpson, who is the creator of Megaton Man, and he's got a lot of fun stuff. He's an artist who's inspired me for a very long time. He's done a lot of work. He's had a long time career, and he's got a Kickstarter up right now, which I've already backed. And I think it's going to be great. It's a collection of Megaton Man stories, along with new stories that I believe they're new, that other indie creators, worked on, teaming up with their characters, a lot of different stuff. You should check out the Kickstarter, but we're going to talk about it Wednesday night, live on the air. So please make sure you tune into that. Yeah. So that's pretty much all the updates right now. And I will be doing a live draw in a moment. But yesterday was Free Comic Book Day, and I wanted to talk about that. It's one of my favorite days in the comic world. Usually, I attend a comic book shop, and I'm at an event there like the entire day. I'm drawing, I'm selling stuff. It's what a lot of other artists do. But in the last year to year and a half, I've had two local comic shops close near me. So we're losing comic shops. And if I don't do an event, I make sure to find a comic book shop that I could go to, pick up some free comics, but really spend some money there and support the local guys. And yesterday was one of those family events I talked about. It was out in Long Island, and I went to Grasshopper Comics in Williston Park, New York. All right. And for those who don't know, Long Island is New York. No matter how much they say they want to be their own, state. uh, but I went to Grasshopper Comics, and I gotta say, I really enjoyed the store. Yesterday, because of how busy it was, the store was kind of tight to walk around. I could see how on a regular day you will be able to look around and see a lot more. It reminded me of a small version of Midtown Comics, if you've ever been to Midtown Comics in New York City. The way it was organized, it's very clean, and it had a lot of trades, um, in the lined up in aisles. So like as you walk in, there's like a kids section. If I walk in to the left is a kids section, and to the right was like a bookshelf of what do you call it? Discounted trades and comics and stuff. And I'm assuming I didn't really get a chance to look. There were a couple of people in there, in blocking, but I'm assuming they were like old things that either used stuff people bought back, and they were selling. And then it had, you go down. There was like, you go to the, if you go into the middle, there's aisles of of trades. Up against the wall on the right side, going like all the way down for the most part, are back issues. And then he had a section straight back on the back wall, New Comics DC. To the left on the wall was New Comics Marvel, and then he had a section for indies. It's a very well organized store. I spoke to who I assume would be the owner. Very nice guy. But you know, when I went to the free comics section, it was a limit of 4 you can take, which is fine. A lot of stores do that because they want to make sure everyone comes in and gets books. So I got my 4. I also picked up some because I had my wife and my mother with me. I had them get 4 issues each so I can give them to my cousin's kids. It was my cousin's communion, his kids' communion. So I wanted to make sure all the kids had some comics. So he picked up some comic books for everyone. Now, for the three oldest boys, I got them I made them get the Minecraft manga, and I looked through it, and I think it's great. I hope they're old enough to understand the backwards reading. I was a little shocked that it was a manga. I guess they make, everybody wants a manga of everything now. But yeah, so I got that for them. Then for the next 2 girls who are little younger, I got them some Archies. And for the youngest boy, there was a Dr. Seuss graphic novel. Now, I looked through all the books. I didn't read them, but I looked through all of them to make sure they were age appropriate and all that stuff. I'm not gonna knock anything, but I was a little thrown off by the Dr. Seuss book, because I didn't feel it had that rhythm and rhyme of Dr. Seuss, and that kind of that's what I wanted, reading Dr. Seuss. It just kind of threw me off. The Archie was, I don't want to say generic Archie, but generic, it's old school Archie style. I actually might have. Is it in here? My wife got 2 books for herself, and she's always been an Archie fan. So she picked up an Archie, and she picked up this one I'm not familiar with, and I look forward to reading it. I think it's another kid's book, but it's called Bad Kitty. Art's nice, it's what it is. I'm just seeing the back now. Badkittybooks.com by Nick Brule. What's that saying? So, yeah, no, it could be fun. I'm going to look through these. I looked through all of them. What I got for myself, which is where? Over here. Come here. All right. Those were paid for books. So the first book, and let me switch over. Let me move this drawing out of the way. I'm going to switch over to my other camera. Make some room here for me. Come on. All right. I'm going to try to do some adjustment here to the camera. I might have to lower my drawing board a little bit. Let me do that. Give me 1 second, please. Okay. So for the height I draw at, all right, how's that right there? And I'm going to give that the full screen there. All right. So, and it's backwards. So let me, video settings. I don't want to mirror the camera. Okay. So now you can see exactly what I'm looking at here. So the first one I picked up was Conan, Scourge of the Serpent. I'm looking forward to reading these. I'm going to usually wait till maybe tomorrow morning or something, because I like to read in the morning with my morning coffee. Let me take off my glasses. I'm sorry. So, as every good fantasy story should start we got a map. Um, you know, what can I say? The artwork is gorgeous. It's definitely got a real Conan feel to it. I'm not going to give away anything. So Ivan Gill is the artist. Jim Zub is the writer. And I don't know if this is already out and they're just using this book to promote. I believe this book might be in trade format already. But I'm loving what I see here. I love this guy's expression a lot right here. So yeah, I mean, this is going to be a fun read. I'm probably going to study some of the art in here as well, just because I like it a lot. The next book, I'll do the Phantom after. The next book I'm going to look at here is Energon Universe. Transformers story. It looks like it's a GI Joe maybe meets Transformers crossover. So again, these might be stories. I'm not really following stories since I don't have a local comic shop anymore. It's very upsetting to me. I'm gonna have to put stuff either on orders or just wait for trades, which is what I'm doing. And when I see a trade I want, I throw it in my Amazon wish list, and then I try to make sure I look for it when I go to stores. When I finally get to go to comic shops, because I'd rather give comic shops the money than Amazon. But this looks pretty cool. I've always been a fan of both Transformers and GI Joe. Then we got the Phantom, one of my all-time favorite characters. Mad Cave is doing some great stuff right now, especially with the King features like Flash Gordon and all that stuff. At least they were. I don't know if they're still doing those books. Again, no local comic shop. I have to go I have to go out to or go online to see what's going on. But I am a huge Phantom fan. Love the Phantom since I was a kid. It ran, I want to say it was in the Daily News. Like, we didn't get it where I lived, but when we go visit my grandparents and my uncle would have, I believe it was the Daily News. I could be wrong. I'd read the Phantom in there and sometimes cut out the strips to take home because I just loved it so much. But yeah, this is just it's different art than what you would see in the newspaper strip, but it's a fun looking comic. I can really get into it. And the last but not least, I picked up this from Free Comic. Thundercats Meet the Powerpuff Girls, I guess. It's again, haven't read it. Very simplistic Powerpuff Girls style. I mean, it looks just like them. So that's cool. And they're fighting a monster, and I'm assuming somehow they're gonna... Well, I'm just looking at here. It looks like just through here, very Thundercats like, and might be imagination that they're doing because Snarf is there and she's pretending to read or ride him there, or maybe there's a crossover. Who knows? I don't know. It's we'll see. I'll check it out. Could be fun. I don't mind that they toned down the Thundercats to fit the Powerpuff Girls style. So these are the 4 I picked up. There were a few other books that weren't there that I was hoping for that I would have probably picked up instead of the Energon Universe and the Transformers and Powerpuff Girls. But is what it is, right? Now, where did I put? Now, I mentioned that I always make sure when I go to a comic shop, especially if it's the first time, it's a mom and pop shop. Um, I always try to make sure to spend money there. And I bought 3 books. First one was issue 2 of the Silverhawks. Again, part of my childhood, something I would love. The artwork's pretty decent in there. It's a little, obviously, updated. I don't have issue 1. I'll read issue 2 and see if I can get maybe issue 1 on eBay or at another store. I hope it's good. If not, how much was it? $5 I wasted. Not a big deal. Let's see. The one I have actually been trying to collect is Space Ghost. I've loved Space Ghost since I was a kid. Watched it in reruns. Watched the updated version they had when they did what do you call it? Space. What was it called? Space Force. Space. I think so. And obviously this isn't the same art style that I'm accustomed to. I was always accustomed to the Alex Toth Space Ghost, which I am kind of a purist for more of the simplicity, but I'm really enjoying the art in here. So, I mean, I think it looks great. I think the storyline is going good. I got to see what I'm missing. I believe issue 11 is out. This is issue 10. I have to go through my books, but I know I have 1 to 5. I have 9, 10. I don't know about 6, 7, and 8. I got to look and see if I have them. But this is the only book I've been actually regularly trying to collect because I really do love Space Ghost. Yeah, I'm just looking. There's so much in here. It's really good. This one I might not wait for my morning coffee. I might read this tonight. But the other thing I purchased, and this is, I usually try to find something I feel is worth some cash. And let me just take it out of the bag. It's called Star Raiders. All right. It's from DC. It's from, I forget the year. It's from the 80s. I want to say early 80s, actually. Let's see. They have, I'm just looking, 1983 this is here. All right. And I didn't even open this up in the store. I'll tell you why I bought it. Right there, it says Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. How do you not love him, right? I mean, he's a fantastic artist. He, changed the look of DC, I guess. When he did the DC guidebook, and everybody followed his look. But I really now Star Raiders. I knew the name, and it was very video game like. The cover, and I'm like, oh yeah, excuse me, I believe it is. And as I went through this, I'm like, oh wait, and I looked at the credits in here in the down here. It's also Atari, so I'm like, oh, it was Atari. So I went on and looked it up, and yeah, it was part of, I believe I don't know if it was the original Atari. I think it was a straight release cartridge. I don't believe it was an Atari arcade at the time. But, and not to give anything away, because I did flip this. I did read a little bit of this here. This art is gorgeous. I know this little character here appears in DC's Atari Force, so this is probably connected somehow, but until I read it, I won't know how. They may have just reused the character. But man, I love this. I love this shot right here. I love the look of the interior of the spaceship and how he's flying here, and loving the ship here and the feel of the wind coming. from the landing and all the dust up here. This is beautiful. So yeah, I mean, it's 83. It's the time of the big, everyone's into Star Wars. Everyone's doing sci-fi. Um, and this looks very traditional, obviously, to me. I'm guessing watercolor. Uh, I don't know, but it looks great. God, look at that. Just the spaceship, battle here, the explosion. I love this ship a lot. Like this is an X-wing. You can tell that's what was inspired here. And this is supposed to be, I guess, their Millennium Falcon. But man, look at I just love that like classic UFO feel. And I love when people take that and just add some adjustments to it. I've actually done it into one of my comics that isn't out yet. Um, so, but yeah, this looks great. I can't wait to read this. Where did I put the bag? Oh, there it is. Now, one of the other cool things, because I went to the store and I got there early, or I don't want to say early, but I got there around noon. So the store was maybe open for an hour or so. Um, and it was nice. They had like Darth Vader and a couple of troopers there, and whatever, people could take photos. I didn't get a photo with them. My mother and wife did though. I thought that was pretty cool. Um, uh, oh boy, I just sidetracked in my head. Uh, sorry about that. Um, where was I going? Oh, what was the other great thing was I had enough time before having to get to the event that I was able to go to one of my favorite art supply stores, which is Dick Blick. It's honestly like the only art supply store these days, besides like Michael's. But I don't have a Dick Blick by me. I tend to order online, and I'm just going to show you what I picked up. Okay. The first thing is I bought a new palette because for my watercolors and stuff, just because I wanted something a little flatter. Um, and I used to have one of these when I was in school, and this was only $1, so couldn't go wrong, right? I also picked up two types of artist tape here. This is a white 1/4 inch. All right, it's 60 yards. You can see it's a really good white right there. And what I use this for specifically is if I screw up in my borders on, when I'm inking comics, because my gutter space is 1/4 inch. Um, so this is just perfect. And then I bought, let me just put this artist tape. I got it yellow for a couple of reasons. One, it's one of my favorite colors. Two, I see it very well being colorblind. And three, I needed something to hold my paper down when I'm drawing. So we'll probably use this in a few minutes. The last thing I picked up were these general pencils. All right, the Kimberly. I think they do a couple of different brands. I picked up the Kimberly. They were the cheapest. When I was a kid, my first how to draw like drawing set that my parents gave me had general art supplies in there, and I always grew accustomed to the pencils. Um, and I know there's a lot of different types of pencils out there, different brands. I mean, I own Blackwing pencils, I own Tombow pencils, and uh, um, you know, Faber Castell. What is it, Derwent? I had them all. And um, first, thank you. Who is that? Saint Griffin. Thank you. I've always loved the general pencils, and the other ones are always so expensive, where you could be spending up to $2 to $3 for one pencil. These were a dollar, I believe, $1.10 or $1.20 for one of these, and I picked up was it two B's, three HB's, a couple of two H's, and a 4B, because those are what I tend to use most. Um, the HB's are my major go-to pencil, and although in my latest mechanical pencil lead that I'm using, where's my mechanical pencil? I'm using a 2B lead right now. It's a little darker. I'm enjoying just drawing with it a little darker. And by the way, let me just say, with these pencils, it doesn't matter if you're using this or something highly expensive. It's a matter of your hand and your skill, your knowledge. It doesn't matter this. You can get the same material. One pencil might be darker or have a smoother line, and if that's what you're looking for, obviously. But if you're just doing it for basic sketching, I think these are great if you're not going mechanical. Now, this right here, by the way, this little tin, I got 6 of them for $10 on Amazon, and I've been using them for carry around art supplies. So I use this Neox graphite, and I have mostly 0.5 millimeter because that's what I tend to use. So I've been going between the HB and the 2B a lot. I also have a 9 HB in here, a 4H. There's a regular H, and there's a 2H, as well as blue and red pencils. And these leads are always with me, depending on what I'm using. I carry multiple pencils with me. So, whoops. And I tend to draw in mechanical pencil just because I don't have to sharpen as often. And that's one thing. The other one I've been using, which doesn't seem. Where is it? I've been using it for my. Oh, is this it? No, that's empty. I don't know. My desk is a little crazy right now. Hope it. Oh, wait. No, this is the one I just showed. I don't know where it is, but I've been using it for my erasers, and I have other erasers around, so it's okay. I also use one right now for my inks. So whatever ink fits in here that I'm inking with at the time, it stays flat on the table. I still use my what's it called, iPhone box, because something like this, when it's flat on the table, takes that very well. It doesn't. This one doesn't fit in here, and this is the carbon ink, the platinum carbon ink. But if you're using the Pilot, it fits nicely in there. I got behind my drawing table, I got a lot of other inks, and they all fit either in this spot or in this spot. But the majority also fit in here, and it's nice to have this when it's flat on the table. Because again, it won't spill. I wish I knew where my erasers were. I'll have to get another eraser out. But this is the mechanical pencil I was telling you about that I have the 2B in, and what I need to do is find out. I forgot what kind of pencil this is. It looks like everything's been rubbed off, or if there was a sticker on it, it fell off. Because I really enjoy this pencil, and I'd like to get more of these in different colors. Excuse me, so that if possible in the 5mm, so I can, have a color set to a different lead. Um, oh, what's the question here? Sorry, I just saw it. If the pencils are different thicknesses, how do you sharpen them? Wouldn't putting them in a standard sharpener make the tips file that? Well, if you're talking about my mechanical pencils, they're always sharp, you know. Um, but something like this, yeah, if they're different numbers, I just sharpen them like a regular pencil, and when they go down, I put them into a pencil holder, the extenders, and I'll use that. And then when it's gone, and I buy another one. So, but when you're talking about the the leads here, these stay sharp all the time, and I can show you a quick difference in here. Let me get a regular sheet of paper here. I really thought I brought everything in. Okay. Regular sheet of paper. And where'd my... See, this is the thing. Everything I'm losing already. My desk around my drawing area is a mess. So let me see. Which way does this go? Just trying to get the yellow. Oh, it's over here. All right. And this tape is really good because this is the type of tape you'd want to put on like watercolor paper or something to keep it down, or to frame out your work, or around the edges. So this right here is the B lead, and you can see every time I draw, it's always sharp, right? Now, yeah, my lines are a little sketchy, and that's just how I draw. But everything here is sharp, 100%. When I take this, and I'll just continue, and this is an HB, so the lead will look a little different. You're going to even notice very quickly that the lead goes down, and this I can also change. You see how it's getting lighter here? That's because I'm changing pressure. So one of the things when I draw with a mechanical pencil, you'll see I kind of choke up on my pencil. I don't hold it down here, right? So whatever I'm drawing, I have, but the line pressure is usually all the same. I don't get a lot of, like, that's a light line right there, but I can come in with this here, almost no pressure on it. You see the difference? And actually, let me get a 2B so that you can see. That's a 2H. That's an HB. Okay, so this is a 2B, the same pencil lead. So if I draw a couple of lines right here, I'll do it next to his head with this. I'm not even putting any pressure on that. You can see how dark they are. I'm going to not put any pressure on here. And you can see that these lines, although it's still dark because it is a darker piece of lead here, or graphite, it's getting darker as I go over it. But, I have that lightness. I can have a lighter touch on it. So, but yeah, eventually in HB here, any of these, I will have to bring this up a bit. I will have to go ahead and sharpen. And you can already see if I bring it up to the, let me see where we'll focus in. Maybe you can see it's already starting to dull a little bit, the tip And this is also because of how I hold it. I don't know if you can see, it is slanted to one direction, to one side. Might be small, I don't know. But yeah, and that tends to happen, and it slows down. So what I thought I would do now, today, we all know it's May 4th, right? May the 4th be with you for you Star Wars fans out there. I'm not a big Star Wars guy anymore. I kind of fell off after the sequels came out. I didn't really like them, and I just felt the stories were going down. But it's okay. I have Star Wars comics here. I have, if I want to watch the original stuff, that what I like, I'll watch them. But I'm really not a Star Wars fan anymore. My favorite science fiction since I saw it come out in, I believe, '94 has been Stargate, and I followed all the Stargate series. Um, and I was actually rewatching a little bit of Atlantis today, just to have something on while I drew. Um, so I got to try to figure out how to extend. Let me see if I bring. Oh, that might work better. Okay. So I want to get a better sheet of paper, because this is just regular flimsy photocopy paper. And I do a lot of my sketches on that, and it's the way I like to think. That's what I call my thinking paper. But I have here some 9x12 Canson, Bristol, and I'm going to do that. So I'm not going to do a Star Wars piece because, again, I'm not a big Star Wars fan anymore. But I love science fiction, and sci-fi will always be, Star Wars probably will always be one of those things that has been a big influence on me. I'm just gonna step away for 1 minute because I want to get my tin of erasers, which I don't see around here. Because I'm going to need my kneaded eraser, which is in there. So if it's not where I left it in the other room where I was drawing earlier, I don't know where it is. I'll be right back. 2 seconds. All right. They have to be in here somewhere. I just don't know where. Let me see. What's this? Empty. So wait, if that's empty, what is this? Empty. Let's see. These are my graphite. Okay, interesting stuff. I don't know where it is. I'll just get another one if I need to erase. Let's see. Give me one moment. Oh, okay. Hold on. Sorry. All right. So let's start sketching something here. And because it's let's see, do I want to do something sci-fi, or like I could draw a Space Ghost because I love the character, or I could do I could do the Phantom. You know what? I'm going to do let's do Space Ghost if I could get comfortable here. Okay. Just moving some things around here. Now, Space Ghost I know pretty well. It's one of the reasons I'm going to draw him. I don't need to look at a lot of stuff for him. So, and I'm not going to do the Alex Toth style, which I do really enjoy. Now, for those unfamiliar with Alex Toth, you guys should totally check him out. He's or was, he's no longer with us, obviously, but he was the cartoonist who he designed a lot of different things, right? And did a lot of the superheroes for Hanna-Barbera back in the 60s. He had actually, there's a Kickstarter. I don't know, is it a Kickstarter or a backer kit? I can't remember. But there is a Kickstarter or crowdfunding, let's say, for a of a remastered colored version of his Zorro work. Now, I forget. I think it was maybe in the 50s he did this. But bring this head down a bit more. And this arm. Let's have this arm going forward here. Or maybe. Yeah, I'll have it like that. Almost like he's running. He doesn't have to be flying everywhere, right? And I'll cut his leg off here. And he could be even flying with this. And I'll have his cape over here. All right, so I got that much. Let me see about moving the light. Too much, too much, too much. What if I turn this one on? How about if I turn this off? I'm just testing right now. It might make me look weird. Actually, I kind of like that better. I could see it better. But getting back to Alex Toth. Did I move it? I believe I moved it. Oh, crap. Never mind. I used to have the Alex Toth book right behind me of the Zor. I probably moved to the other shelf on the other side of the room. Just double checking. Yeah, I can't tell or see anything over here. So probably it's on the other side of the room now. And this is where I wish I had my erasers, because now that I see the drawing better, I do see things I want to change. So I'm going to get out another. I had another needed eraser around here, but I didn't want to break one out yet until the other one was done. Whoa. All right. Let me just open this up. I'd like to fix this arm and maybe this arm a little bit. And these, I bought a pack on Amazon of Faber-Castell. It was a 4-pack. So they come in these little containers here, just so you know. Um, I was using this container until I bought the tins, but as the eraser erases and gets bigger, and you make it bigger and into shapes, it just wasn't comfortable in that in the plastic anymore. So that's why I got the tin, because it's bigger. What's that? Could your skills translate over to police sketch artist or courtroom artist? If those, well, I don't draw realistically, and those artists tend to draw a bit more realistically than me. But if you have drawing knowledge or just art knowledge in general, you have the skills that you practice. Of, I understand. Like, okay, here's my take on anatomy. I don't know anatomy well. My anatomy is, if you ask me to name where a bone is or a muscle, maybe if it's a popular name of one, I would know. And I'm going to change over here too. If it was a popular one, maybe, but I might know. But I learned through books like How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way and other how to draw books. I remember I looked at Chris Hart's how to draw books, which, by the way, Chris Hart will be coming on my show, I believe, on May 21st, if that's a Wednesday. I don't remember the whatever Wednesday, excuse me, that week. Chris Hart will be on. And we'll be talking about his new manga coloring book, and we'll probably talk a bit about his big book of anime that came out last year, I believe it was. Anyway, I'm just gonna change a little bit of this here. So I went through that. I had how to draw books. My very first how to draw book was a what's his name? John Nagy. Excuse me. That's with a silent G. John Nagy. It's Gnagy, I believe. Him and his wife, was it Mary Jo? Was a They were both artists, and they were like the first people to have a how to draw television series back in the 50s, and they kind of brought art to the masses and made art easy for people. But when you look at their stuff, their stuff, had a more realistic feel when you finished rendering. Me, I never got into that because I really loved comics. So I studied all the stuff I need, perspective and everything you need to be an artist. I understand how to use different materials and all that fun stuff. But not that I never learned, I understand the process. I just never liked it, so I don't do it for realism. And that would be something you would want to make sure you're practicing for rendering, so it does not everything looks like a comic drawing. Let's make him flying. So like one of the things, and you know what, I will say, looking at other people's styles, copying art, um, I'm a big fan of artists, a lot of different artists. One of my all-time favorites is Gil Kane. Love Gil Kane's work. It's one of my favorite up there. And I love, he was the one, if you're not familiar, was the one who in the 60s basically drew the original, that the Hal Jordan Green Lanterns, and changed, brought him into the space age there. Like all the other DC characters were doing at the time. Let's bring this up like that, and so his arm will be bent here, and then we'll see his fist over here. Okay, this should be good enough. And then Um, so yeah, I mean, it really comes down to what you like and what you want to do as an artist. I'm not going to get up and look for my glove right now. Just use. Let's have his legs, both legs, kind of going back like he's flying. So my thing with art is believability over reality. So I don't need reality. I need it to be believable. I want to make his belt a little bigger, and I'm going to bend this leg back. I see there's another comment. Just give me 1 second. And I always draw too big that I can't finish the feet. You know, let's knuckle 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. So as long as you learn the proper techniques and processes and practice what you want, you will be able to draw anything. And I'm going to turn his head in this direction here. So let's see. After I sketch in pencil, do I color? Well, I tend to color digitally. I mean, I can color through colored pencils, and which are my favorite. I can color, I can color marker. I know how to use the materials, but I'm colorblind, so I don't like to do color work traditionally. I like that digitally, because I'm like, oh, I can type in a code and get the color I need, as opposed to exactly how I see the color. Because if I needed to make grass, for example, the version of grass that you guys see in green has more of a reddish tint to me, so it looks a bit more orange. Um, so like that, yeah, that looks better. But I think I might just ink him today. I usually tend to leave a lot in pencil. So this would be bending around here. All right, that is not looking good. Let's bring his arm up like that. That'll look better. And I mean, you'll notice how much I'm erasing and changing. Let the eraser be your friend. Remember that. It's, you know, I haven't come out and taught in a while, so I hope I'm doing okay today. That's looking terrible too. Sometimes you might have to look up hand reference. I can get this. I don't know why it's not going right for me right now, but let me work on the mask and then I'll come back. Going back to artists I really admire, I'll always say people like Jack Kirby, um, Will Eisner. These are some of my top artists here, that I love. But and I'm bad with Japanese names, but I am a fan of manga and anime. So um, one of my favorites, and I think everyone who's into manga will claim him as a favorite, is Akira Toriyama, creator of the Dragon Ball series. But for me, it's not Dragon Ball that did it. I do like a lot of his other stuff over Dragon Ball, but it was his vehicles. I love how he draws his vehicles, and that's what I'm a big fan of. Is it when you decide the color in the sketch? How do you decide what color to make the subject? What is the criteria for making a hero, villain, white, black? Oh, you're talking ethnicity. Well, that really doesn't matter to me. I don't really design unless I have a specific reason for making the character a certain ethnicity. I don't I don't draw it to be that type of of you know ethnicity there. I look at it as I got a villain. Where's my story taking place? Like I designed this story that starts in China, right? So the villains are from Asia. It's based on it's actually they're all from China if I remember correctly, because they're all based on the Chinese gods and goddesses. It's a mythology story that I was creating, and I wanted to set it in China, um, because I wanted to do a martial arts story, and I really thought having the character kind of be an ancient martial arts warrior, who's out of his time, kind of like a samurai Jack, but he's not looking to get home. Um, and you know, so I think I'll change this cape too. I just liked it going up like that. So that's how it is. So knowing that made me make. Well, I'm dealing with all the gods, of China, and I might be going to other Asian countries. So if I am, they're going to be primarily Asian characters. I'm not going to probably have the story come to America. Um, this way, my story can stick. You know, what's the word I'm looking for? Can all it's all the same. Now when that comes to drawing, how does that affect it? um it really comes down to like when you think about, unless they specifically say, if you read a manga or an anime, I always interpret it as they're Asian characters, because it's coming out of Japan, or it's coming out of Korea or China, so they're Asian characters, and yes, I know manga is a Japanese word, and it's based on Jap, but all cultures there have it, and have their own comics. I meant, so I'm just kind of using that interchangeably right now. Um, but when you look at a story like the Vinland Saga, right, which is a manga and anime, one of the best actually shows I've seen in a long time. Um, the Vinland Saga, and I don't know how old you are. It's definitely a teen plus age group. Also, I'd probably even put it, just because of the violence, into not mature, but like R rating, and at least season one. And they're Vikings, so we know they're in Norway, or they're in Iceland or England. They're in that Scandinavian areas and British areas in the story, So for that, I know that, all of a sudden I go to that as a story, and usually when you watch something like that, they're usually talking, the cities we're looking at, unless they're made up cities, they're usually like in Tokyo or something very populated, so that it's like, oh well, that's where they are. But getting back to my story, or just characters, like you look at something like Black Lightning. That show took place I mean, it was a comic first, obviously, but the show, if you look at it, the main villain was black. And why? Because it took place in a black neighborhood, um, and that's something to think about. I think I like this, but I want to raise this up. Um, so here's the muscle. It's gonna. Hmm, sorry, I just smelled something all of a sudden. But yeah, so that's how I do it. I kind of go and take the idea. Now, there's a lot of characters in public domain that you can pull from, and that's why I like the mythology, the gods, all that is public domain um, work. But back in the 40s, a lot of those characters who became public domain, they were fighting either the Japanese or Nazis because World War II was out, and so you either had German villains or you had Japanese villains. And that was a big thing that happened where they kind of stereotyped, or if you want to use the word, created some propaganda with the characters. Like, think about Flash Gordon. The original design of Ming the Merciless was he was based he was a Japanese parody. Why? Because we were at war with Japan, and it's like well, I don't know if we were at. There was a war going on, and Japan was the big bad, and it was like, well, let's make sure our readers know that Japanese are the bad guys. And I don't know if Alex Raymond did that on purpose, if he was told to do it by his editors and stuff, but yeah, it's a that's how I'd go about and do it. It's what do I need for my story? You know, and if the ethnicity doesn't matter, don't worry about it. You know. All right, that's looking better. I'm gonna have that, and we're gonna have his cape going up like that. It's just, I don't know if I need it more, but all right. And you can see my pencil's worn down. I could have sharpened it a couple of times. I chose not to, but I could have. If I was going to clean this up in pencil with this 2B, I absolutely would sharpen this again so I have a sharper point and I would have a cleaner line. And what I'm doing right now is I'm lightening up my pencils to make them easier to erase and later when I go to ink. All right. Let's this down real quick. Get a sip of water, and I'll get out a pen. Where's my water? There it is. All right, a little more than a sip. What do I want ink with? I don't even know if this works. Let me see. Yeah, it does, but I have to. I'm not getting the thinness of the line I want right now. I'll bring this in for something else later. Uh, let's. I'm sorry, I can't see with everything here. Let me pull. You know what? I'm on this here. Let's pull out some ink. I'm gonna use. Where is my pilot ink? I just had you. Oh, there it is. I gotta make more room on my table for stuff. Sorry for all the noise. This table needs a really good cleaning. Oh, I've been looking for that. Oh. Usually, what I'll do is I will put my ink out and let it sit out for a few days before I. No, I don't want that. Let's try this. This one I just picked up. Give me 1 second. I need to stand easier. Oh, you're not coming on right now. You must be out. What's this? Nope. Can I come around and just grab this? This right here, I'll just show you guys real quick. This is my Snoopy, one of my Snoopy cups. This is where I keep my nibs. They're in here. Usually, I take them out so that I can um, you know just take out the nibs, let them sit on their own. But I haven't taken them out in a while here. I do want to give them a cleaning though. It's not the brush I'm looking for. I mean, I guess I can use that, but that wasn't what I was looking for here. Let me. Usually I know where all my stuff is. Today it doesn't seem it's going that way. That is weird. Give me 1 sec. Is it on the side? Did I not put it back in here? Sometimes I do that. When I'm done, I leave it on the side. Is this? That's what I was looking for. Put it back here for now. All right. I got a thing water here. Okay, so I got my water. I got that. I got a paper towel, which should be around here. And I don't see my lighter. Usually I always go back and burn my nib like a quick, just to remove any oils. But today, let's do this. I haven't touched it with my fingers, so. All right. Just see how this looks. Looks good to me. All right. I'm going to take the tape off because when I ink, I turn the paper. Let's start. I might even remove that little line there. I haven't inked like this in a while. Oops. It's okay. That's getting colored in black anyway, so if it's not perfect, I'm not going to go crazy. Let's pop it out just a little bit. That definitely needs more ink. Ooh, that might be too much. Okay. I'll come back and do that later. Sometimes, and this is just something I do when I ink, sometimes I'll go very, I have a heavy hand. Um, so I try to put as much as a light uh, pen mark because I can always go in after and darken it up. But I'd rather not do cleanup and, now, what was that? Let's get his mouth. I'm gonna come back and fix that. I don't like the way that was supposed to have a interesting line, but that didn't go the way I wanted it. Now, sometimes I will say I don't ink Space Ghost's cape that often because it is kind of this yellowish color, and that if I wanted to, if I was adding color to this, I might just color the cape in. Ooh, good, that took out a lot. And again, I'm not going to freak out over this because I want to put black around them because he'll be in outer space. Oops, too much. Ooh. Let's see. And you want to make sure you choose the lines, even if I didn't, because I drew this, I know where the lines I want are. So even if I don't use the lines I actually drew and I make up my own. This is the one thing a lot of people actually love the inking process. I am much more of a penciler and prefer when I'm just penciling. Say, nice space. Hey, Dell, thanks. Oh, Dell, it's the show's over. How was the show today? I really wanted to come. We'll have to talk after I finish the stream. Awesome. I look forward to them. And for those watching who aren't Dell, go follow him on social media, on Instagram and everything. He is an amazing artist, very talented guy. Today he was at a convention. I wish I was able to go, but I was dealing with some pain today. As I think I mentioned earlier in the show. That's funny. And I just saw somewhere I made a mistake. I'll fix it. It's okay because it'll be black when I color it in. So and I just made a drip too. So I got some cleanup to do, but this line actually should go all the way down to, I'll be doing a little bit of a fix up here. I want it to come down to right over here. So I'll erase this line here. All right, well, that's me screwing up. And you know what? It wouldn't be a picture by Michael Grassia if I didn't screw up. Yeah, I'm feeling better. I'll tell you the truth. It's, I mean, for those watching who aren't aware, I've mentioned this on my show plenty of times. I have arthritis, and it's in my knees and hips. And last night, driving back from that family event I mentioned, we got stuck in a lot of traffic, and I just was in a lot of pain afterwards. And I didn't sleep well, so I didn't get a good rest, and I just kind of spent the majority of the day on the couch because of that. Um, so I'm feeling better though. A couple of rounds of Tylenol and just an easy day. Dang it. Okay. It's a little thicker here. Sometimes I think I should try to pick up a brush to ink with. I had a teacher. He used to get mad at me because I always inked either with crow quills or fine liners like microns. And it's like if you don't ink with a brush, you're not inking properly. Very old school mentality. But I never got the hang of I could do fill-ins with it, but I never got the hang of the brush. Sorry you can't see it, guys, right now. I just did the belt. And if I was smart, I would have taken like a French curve or something to get a nice curve on there. But I'm just freehanding everything tonight. I actually have a flexible curve somewhere. I really like that tool. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. I'd show it to you if I knew where it was. But that's a really nice thing. It's like a long ruler that's bendable, and I could shape it into like any type of curvy path, and I would use that a lot. I think it's more of a drafting supply than like to do what do you call it, architecture work. But I've liked it. I'm just going to give this brush a quick clean here. I've never had an issue with the nibs snapping. I've worn them down on multiple occasions where I've had to buy. I used to. I'll be honest, I forgot what nib it was, but when I was in my 20s, there was a nib I just bought boxes, like a giant box of, and I used. And when I say a giant box, I think it had like 10 in there, and I used it so much. I think I went through those 10, maybe 2 years, maybe under. Now, this I learned with the nibs. I was in, I want to say, seventh grade is when I started using nibs. Um, and then when I got into high school, I did some calligraphy, and they gave us this. I started drawing with them. They didn't know I knew how to. Um, they didn't know I knew how to use it already, and then I started drawing in them in school, and I loved it so much. But yeah, they're a the nibs. I didn't get. I mean, I started when when I first started, they splattered, or if I put too much in, or really what it comes down to is how heavy are you pressing. Now I got a heavy hand, but usually it just means I make a darker, a heavier, thicker line. I have to really think about, like, right here. I wanted that a thinner line, but I wanted it thicker than the feathering here. So I went over it. But what's going to happen now is I want this to kind of go thin to thick for his armband there, for the curve. Sorry. But yeah, when I ink, I have to do a lot of thinking. I take my time inking, um, because I'm one of those people. I feel all my emotion and action and the beauty of what I do is in pencil, and I feel at least my inks hurt them. If someone else cleans it up for me, maybe, or not cleans it up, but inks it for me, that might be a possibility in Tinto. I got a Vince Coletta story about him telling me to shave down nibs on a brick to get a gritty ink fill. Wow, that actually sounds pretty cool. I never tried that. I think a phone call needs to happen soon, or a nice little like Skype session, Dell, because I'd love to hear that story. Ooh. Yeah, but when I was a kid, getting back to that, I grew up in a town called Mayapack, New York, and um, in a few towns over in Yorktown, there was this artist there, and the artist would have lessons out of his basement. He taught adults, he taught kids, he taught all different things. But he did work in comics, and I don't remember what he did in comics or what company he worked for. Um, so like when I said I wanted to learn comics, he was somehow my parents. I think my father might have found him. I remember when I was around that age, my dad actually contacted the National Cartoonist Society, for me to ask questions about, pursuing a career as an artist and a cartoonist. And he I think maybe we were given his oh, damn it, I messed up there. That's going in black anyway, who cares, right? No, but we were given his name, and he's like, okay, so the first thing I did after I learned how to make a comic, like actually tell a story, I did that in markers. Then the second one I did, he's like, we're going to change it up. And he's like, we're going to train you in nibs. So that's when I started doing this. Which I'm you know I'm still practicing. I'm getting back into the hang of it because I've been digital for so long, but yeah, it's been fun, and I've been testing out different inks. What I'm using right now, this is a Pilot ink. Um, Trying to turn it around now. I think this is it says Pilot Black, but I think when I ordered it, it was a manuscript ink because I wanted to try something different. The the other ink I showed earlier here, the platinum carbon ink. This is, to my understanding, what a lot of people are using now. I've tried it. I like it, but like I said, I normally leave it open for a couple of days, let it thicken up a little bit when I know I'm going to ink, and I just didn't want to waste it doing this today. But a lot of people like this. I know. I believe, from my understanding, this is the ink Sergio Aragonés uses in his pens. You know, when he puts them in his uh, what do they call it? His fountain pens. I think that's the ink. Now that was recommended to me by a past guest of mine on my show and a friend, Matthew Hansel, who does what is it? He does a lot of stuff, but he's got his Marty and Spud uh, cartoon in A Kid in a Comic, which I have the Wiz in there. So you know, we're published together there. That's cool. Um, so that's. I'm just sorry. I'm working on the legs. My board is a little big for the camera, or at least how far I can stretch it. Okay, but yeah, that was what was recommended. And he's a big Sergio fan as well. Um, and what's really cool, I don't know, I had Jamar Nicholas on my show. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? No, 2 weeks ago. And he was saying, for those people who are, if you're a member of the National Cartoonist Society, once a month they do these interviews, kind of with some one of the members, a cartoonist. And if you are not a member, you pay $12. Well, I'm not a member, so I paid $12, but I got to listen to on last Monday Sergio speak. We got a tour of his studio while we watched. It was a really cool thing. I didn't realize how much he's into Donald Duck, which is kind of cool because Donald, outside of Scrooge, Donald's my next favorite duck in Disney, and he really has a lot of cool stuff in his studio. But yeah, no, that was really cool to watch, and I'll wait for the next email and see what's coming up. All right, I'm not gonna have room to do the feet, so. Okay. Damn it, out of ink. Okay, I think I went too high on that. I don't want to. Let's go this way. Doesn't matter. Still turn the same way. I gotta say, as I'm getting closer to the end of this drawing here of inking, the pen is finally. I finally feel like um, today, because I haven't practiced in about 3 or 4 weeks with this pen. Um, I finally feel like I'm getting the hang of it again. You know. We're gonna let this dry for a bit here. All right. And since this is underneath, let's get the. All right. Let's clean this nib. So. I'm probably going to use the same ink for filling right now. Yeah, I know that I draw. I've been drawing really large lately. I don't know if you see my posts on both Instagram and Facebook. Um, they tend to. I tend to not draw feet anymore because my drawings have. I don't know why. I'm just drawing so large, and I wish I knew why I'm doing that. You know, it's been driving me crazy. All right. I know I got to do the square in here, but I'm going to hold that off for a second. What's that? Sorry, just looking. All right, I was just looking at my phone. I got a bunch of messages while I was doing this. I can respond to them later. And now the new. Looking where I put my kneaded eraser. And sometimes I also wait until I've done the fill-ins to do the erasing, but his character is basically a white suit, so I just want it to look clean kind of from the start. Ooh, that didn't dry right there. I thought I was good. Oh well. Or is that just. No, that was the. Yep, I smeared it in a few spots. Oh, because I did up there. That's why. Son, I thought all this was good. Oh well. That's why we have our white ink. Or we use a little wash or something, you know? I'll give the legs I don't want to do a lot of cleanup. So while that's going on, I'm back. You see all this changing of the lights here, right? What if I turn that? That's kind of normal looking, right? Just using the window. But if I put that on, that's a little better. So right. Just taking a look here. Just got another message. Wow, I'm popular today. So yeah, no. Anyway, oops, sorry. I don't. Um, yeah. So yesterday, like I said, I went to Free Comic Book Day. One of the reasons, and Dell, I don't know if you were here earlier when I was talking about it, but the reason I did this was because I chose Space Ghost because I actually bought some not Zorro, Space Ghost comics. I went to uh, Grasshopper Comics in, where was it? Williston Park. So it's in Long Island. I was down there for a family event, and we're gonna switch lights again. And I had a good time. I got, you know what? I'll show this again because I don't think you saw it, but it had it was Jose Luis Garcia Lopez on the art by. So I was like, how do you not pass it up? So it was Star Raiders, which is an Atari game, and this was kind of, from my understanding. Now I haven't read it yet, but from my understanding, this is kind of like a prequel to the Atari Force in a way, because certain characters. Please do. I'm sorry. Which please do for what? I lost track of what I was saying with that. But I'm gonna, let me see if I can extend this up a bit so you guys can see the comic better. Oh, you had that, really? Yeah, this was $8 at the store, which is why I picked it up. Like when I go to a store for Free Comic Book Day, my goal is really to spend money, not just pick up free books. I want to make sure that I can support a local store, especially since my stores are all closed now by me. But I haven't read it yet. But I'm guessing it's watercolor in certain panels, and other panels like this right here, if I was to zoom in on it, and again, I got to be careful because of my shelf that this is on is not attached. Like this looks like this was just his pencil, almost like he worked. He did some shading in pencil, maybe a little ink in there. You know, I love these pictures of like the cockpit and the chair and the details they did on the chair, and how simplistic like these are. Instead of all these holographic things, this looks like an arcade up here. I'm like, that's kind of cool. So I love these little feels to everything. Like I flipped through this book, and I've even flipped to the end, but but yeah, no, I love this here. You know, this is just great stuff. And I'm currently developing a sci-fi comic I want to pitch somewhere. Um, and it's not my sci-fi manga that I've been talking about on my show, where it's, you know, the giant robot story. It's about it's kind of more of a tribute to like a Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers type of thing. Um, so let me pick up here these books here. This is also my two of my purchases. So I picked up a Space Ghost number 10. I believe 11. They're up to 11. That's been purchased. That's purchasable right now. That's out. And I know I have issues 1 through 6. I mean 1 through 5. I also know I have issue 9. I'm not sure about 6, 7, and 8. So it's the only book I'm actually trying to collect right now. So between trying to find comic shops to go to, those are ads. Wow, there's a lot of ads in this one here. Um, but what was I going to say? between trying to find comic shops to go to and eBay, really, I've been collecting Space Ghost. And then Silverhawks recently came out, which was a childhood cartoon of mine. Um, and although the artwork, it's modern. Um, I would have preferred it to look a little bit more like the cartoon. I will find issue one. I will read issue one, and we'll see if I like one or two right now. Um, and that might become something else I collect. And also, if you are into like these old type of stuff, and especially if you were into like anime and manga, check out was it Battle of the Planets? That's out again. I think it's either Dynamite or Mad Cave is putting it out. I don't remember right now. But Chris Batista's drawing it. So if you follow Chris on social media, his work, it's like you're reading the cartoon. It's amazing. Um, yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's just great if you're into that stuff. Um, so yeah, make sure to check that out. Okay, just closing out. All right, let's get back to Space Ghost. I'm gonna change. I'll leave both on right now. What did I just do? I'm gonna raise this up, and let me get a paintbrush over here. Do I want to go a little smaller? Whoops. Screw it. Let's try. What number is this here? That's a 4. Thought I had something. 4 is fine. Right. Did I even open this one yet? I don't know. Doesn't look like it. I've recently picked up some what do you call it? Synthetic sable hair brushes. And this is one of them, and I'm trying to figure out do they have like one of those taped openings, or do I just tear this open? We're going with tearing. Just give me 1 second here. Oh crap. That fell. Do I have clean water? It's not going to matter this second, but I just want to get the brush a little wet for a moment. Okay. Let's get some ink on this. Let's see how is it. Yeah, it's not bad. I'm going to want to go over this again and get it a little darker. I find it's funny though, because I do find for some reason, even if you just put the brush in the ink before, without getting, and I only got it a little wet because the bristles were really hard. It tends to gray out the ink with this particular brand. You see the difference? I had to go over it twice, and that one, second I went over it, over onto that side, it grayed out a bit. So A little darker. Let's get a little spot right there. Right. I gotta look up one thing with him because I always forget if that square on his belt is black or if it's his belt that's black and the square is red. I want to pull out my old Space Ghost DVDs now. Problem is, they're connected with Dino Boy, so I have to watch a Dino Boy episode, which isn't bad, but I just prefer. Oh, I shouldn't need to. I forgot I was going off onto there. You know, one technique that I learned, I didn't say this when I was doing the inking with the nib, and it goes for a brush as well. This is a cool little technique. I had an art teacher. He had a little bit long of a red belt, yellow buckle. Okay. I'll look it up again. Actually, it could be on the no, it's off the thing. But my teacher, he had a little bit long of a little finger, and I mean of the nail on his little finger, and we know normally that is a reference to a drug culture, um, but I don't think he was doing that. The reason he had it, at least according to him, was that when he would ink, whether it was with a brush or a uh, a nib, he would let his little finger be his guide. So if you notice how I'm holding my hand right now, my fingers are on the little finger, and he would hold it, and then he would bring the brush to where he needed, right? And as he pulled, that extra long nail would be his guide to inking. And it was how he got smooth lines. And I've watched him ink. I watched him do it, but yeah, I'm not one for extra long fingernails. I have actually recently been watching some YouTube videos because it's funny. Even though I'm colorblind, people have talked about my colors a lot, and I'm not scared because I don't know colors to just play around with them, and just use things. So people actually like my coloring, but I want to get into like watercolor and gouache. So I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos on that. I'm gonna hopefully start painting again. I've missed. It's weird, like I said a couple of times, on my show, my New Year's resolution was to stay off the screens as much as possible, and get into more traditional stuff. Since I've done that, and I've stayed off the screens, I have really enjoyed. I've gotten back into wanting to do so many other things um, traditionally. And I have missed it. I should probably extend that out, but I'm not going to right now. Let's look up what Space Ghosts Ow, that was loud in my ear. Um, Sorry, I just got a text. Sorry, just all right. Sorry, that was my wife. I could ignore all other texts, but hers. Space Ghost. I was looking up. Space Ghost. Black belt. Is that what you said? It says black belt, red buckle. Okay. All right. I'm just going to let's add kind of like right around here. Good thing I'm kind of finishing up right now because now that I know my wife's coming home, that means I can make dinner and eat. I have been hungry for the last like 2 hours. I didn't want to spoil dinner. Now I do know that the buckle is thinner than the actual belt. Okay. Now I haven't experimented with this yet to see if this ink, if I could put watercolor over it. Um, I'm thinking I can't. Mm-mm. All right, let's take this. Oops, no, still needs to be clean. All right, let's leave that over here to dry. Okay. So for now, oh, I'm sorry. Oops, sorry, one more time. Uh, oh wow. Sorry. So we got Space Ghost here. I don't know if I could add, like I said, water over this, like a watercolor, but I do want to clean up the some of the smears. So I'm gonna get a white if I can reach one. All right, I got the white deleter, and I have the standard Pro White. I'm gonna go with the deleter right now, and the reason why is I've played with it a few times. And what I like about it, and I should probably get another water for it, but I'll just get a good brush. Yeah, I've used you and you're flexible enough. Um, well, just watch. It has a what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't always, unless you put a heavy coat on, it doesn't go on 100% pure white, or at least the last one. I think this is a different number because you can see here it's. I don't want to tilt it now that it's open, but that's a number 2. I think I was playing with a different number when I first tried this because this. I'm looking at this. This feels much thicker, you know. And I got a smear right here. Yeah, much thicker on this here. I got to take off a lot. Wow. Hmm. And when this dries, I'll go over it with a pen because I know I can't go back over it with ink. Ooh. Well, that's weird. I feel like that one is still smearing. Ooh, damn it! Put my hand in there. It's coming out this way. Let's get that little mark. I need to get right here. I just filled that in, so I'm going to wait a little bit. All right. That's going to be black eventually. I don't think I have any other actual smears except for. Let's just get that little cleanup right there. Yeah, the rest could be done with an eraser. This is my only other major concern. Mhm. Yeah, I think I'm gonna want to adjust his cowl a bit. Now that I'm looking at it, there's things in there. I'm like, I'm not really fond of it. Get that a little smoother. All right, I'm gonna leave it alone at there for now because what I want to do is eventually I'll scan this in, and the least amount of cleanup I have, the better. So this is going to give me some issues right there on that one. That doesn't feel like a smear. That's an eraser. Yeah, so this one went on a little thicker, but it does need multiple coats. I just don't like having all that raised. I'll have to go and let that dry and then maybe go in again. Whoops. Uh-oh. All right, so that is my Space Ghost for now. Um, oh, I didn't show you guys the free comics that I picked up. Well, I did, but I mean, when Dell was asked, show us what we got. The free comics I picked up, and my hands are now kind of, I don't want to touch them because I got some of the white on me and I got some ink on me. But I did get, I got the Phantom by Mad Cave. I got a Conan by Titan. I got a what was the other one? Conan, Titan. I don't even know where they are now. Um, I know I took the Powerpuff Girls meet the, excuse me, the Thundercats. Oh, and I took a Transformers Energon thing that's like GI Joe and the Transformers teaming up, I guess. So that was it. Yeah, so I got to do a little touch up on here. Um, I got to clean my brushes. I got to do a few things, but yeah, the whole background is probably going to be black. I might throw in some planets in here, or or I might take the white, some white, and toothbrush it on to get some star effect. See what happens. You know. Um, so at the moment, that is it. I'll go in and erase better. I'll do some things, and maybe next time I stream, I'll have this complete, or I'll finish it on the stream. But I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to, say, you know, oh, don't forget to tune in Get in Tune on Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Don Simpson will be on. Remember, he's creator of Megaton Man, and we're going to be talking about his Kickstarter, and which I've already backed. And just speaking of things, back on Backer Kit, if you're a fan of Steve Rude, he has a new drawing book out. And there's like special deals going on this weekend for Free Comic Book Day. I've been a fan of his work for years. I always enjoy watching him because he's also very like classic artist. So it's not like the modern work we're seeing. We're more seeing like the classic Alex Toth Space Ghost stuff, and his Nexus stuff is beautiful. So check that out. If you're over 18, I recommend checking out the Fugitive Poems on Kickstarter. It's called Blood Valkyrie in Vegas. Great looking book. I've seen some of the behind the scenes stuff. Really cool stuff there. I think it might have ended, but Filbo Publishing had Papa. I think that might have ended. I don't know. But yeah, there's a lot of great Kickstarters and things going on right now. Go check them out. And yeah, we'll talk later. I'll see you definitely Wednesday night. And if I can, tomorrow night, I will start back up my Monday night live draws. All right. I will talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.